Wait, you're a Bears fan and you're not subscribed to my channel? Before this video starts, make sure to 1. Hit the subscribe button below to catch all Bears content right here on this podcast. 2. Hit the bell notification because you, my friend, are a diehard Bears fan. And 3. Like this video and tell all the Bears fans you know about the channel. Alright, that's better. Now that you're actually subscribed to the channel, make sure to bear down and enjoy this video.
Now this is a podcast all about Bears. You either cheering for this team or just pulling your hair. I like to take a minute, just sit right back and tell you how I became the #1 Bears fan. That boy is Benny Hunter. Cake on the mic, cake on the mic, cake on the mic, cake on the mic. People, this the intro. Sacramento, California, born and raised. And Antelope is where I spend most of my days. Talk bad about my team, you must be a clown. This is Keek on the mic, so you know you better bear down. Bear down, bear down.
So, Bears fans, even though Matt Nagy hasn't been officially fired and is still currently the Chicago Bears head coach, we are all anticipating the news right after the game on Monday, Black Monday, that Matt Nagy will be fired and will no longer be the Chicago Bears head coach. But on today's episode of Keek on the Mic, I was wanting to talk to you guys about, and something that I've been wondering, I'm pretty sure you guys have all been wondering, what are the Chicago Bears looking for in their next head coach? Because at this point, it's been a huge mystery. Obviously, the Bears could have fired Matt Nagy early and took the last 2 weeks of the NFL season to start interviewing candidates early. Obviously, they didn't want to go that direction because their traditions, whatever. But what are the Chicago Bears actually looking for? So according to an NFL insider, Albert Breer, he says in his Sports Illustrated column this: the Bears have been connected to both Harbaugh and Saints coach Sean Payton, but I don't think they get into any sort of bidding war on either. And assuming Matt Nagy's gone, I've heard they won't be focused solely on quarterback developers, like they were when they landed Matt Nagy in 2018, with their focus likely on leader of men types. It's also worth noting that owner George McCaskey has been very involved in the NFL's diversity efforts, and the league has been bullish on the candidacy of Bills defensive coordinator Leslie Frazier. Frazier, a star corner on the vaunted 1985 Bears defense, has been raised to me repeatedly in regards in Buffalo's plans. I've heard a few younger candidates that project as leaders, like Patriots linebackers coach Jared Mayo and Colts DC Matt Eberflus, will be in the mix too. Obviously, these guys would need to have some types of plans for developing Justin Fields, which will be really important. So the Chicago Bears are looking for a new head coach that can be a leader of men, which sounds nice and all, but shouldn't the main focus be on Justin Fields' development? That shouldn't be secondary for anything. The main priority looking for the next Chicago Bears head coach should be solely on Justin Fields' development. If we're all in agreement here on the podcast today, we all know that Justin Fields is the future of the Chicago Bears. I argue that Justin Fields should be a part of the interview process, right? He should get the chance to interview a couple of coaches as well and see what he likes. Ask them some questions, right? If he is the future of the Chicago Bears, I feel like he deserves that right. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm overthinking this. But the last thing I remember, we traded up to get Justin Fields. We traded away more draft capital in order to get the quarterback of the future. And another thing, I'm pretty sure the Chicago Bears, at some point in Matt Nagy's tenure, called him a leader of men. That's why the Chicago Bears players on this team haven't stopped fighting for Matt Nagy, because he's a leader of men. While Leslie Frazier may be a great head coach for the Chicago Bears, and maybe he does have a plan for Justin Fields, that wouldn't be my top candidate for the next Chicago Bears head coach. And we shouldn't be solely looking at someone that can be a leader of men, because I feel like a lot of these candidates can fit that criteria and be a leader of men. But just because they fit that criteria doesn't mean they can develop Justin Fields. Overall, being a leader of men can only get you so far. I, for one, think Matt Nagy does fit that criteria. And I think that's why the Bears held on to Matt Nagy for so long. Because when you look at guys, past head coaches for the Bears, like Mark Trestman, he didn't have that respect from his players, from his other coaches. But Matt Nagy does. But having that trait only gets you so far. Look what happened to Matt Nagy. He fits that mold that the Bears are looking for. And what happened? We decreased each year under the leadership of Matt Nagy. So once again, I'm going to sound like a broken record. But that shouldn't be the main criteria that they are looking for when they're looking for the next Chicago Bears head coach. And I'm begging the McCaskey family. I'm begging either Ryan Pace if he stays or this new GM. Please bring in a guy that can develop Justin Fields. Make him comfortable. I'm not sitting here asking for an offensive guru. That's what we hoped in for Matt Nagy. It didn't work. So I'm not sitting here begging for an offensive guy. I'm just sitting here begging for a guy that can have a plan to develop our quarterback of the future and get him going into the right direction. That's all I'm asking for. Like always, I want you guys to comment down below in the comment section and let me know how you guys are feeling about this report from Albert Breer. Because obviously, the McCaskies want one thing, but what do you guys as a fan base want? Who do you guys want the next Chicago Bears head coach to be? Do you want it to be someone that is a leader of men? Or do you want it to be someone that's able to develop Justin Fields in the long run? So make sure you comment down below in the comment section and let me know how you feel about this report. But before I let you guys go, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. Make sure you follow me on all my social media platforms, and make sure you share this episode of Kick on the Mic with every single Bears fan that you know. But other than that, I'll be back for an all-new Bears podcast right here on Kick on the Mic. Thanks, guys, and bear down.
You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't kick on the mic. You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't kick on the mic. You can go and subscribe, cause I be on it right. You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't kick on the mic.
These days, everyone knows that it can be really, really hard to find and hire the right candidate for your very small business or any business in general. That's exactly why LinkedIn Jobs made it easier to find people that you want to talk to faster and for free. And Bears fans, I wouldn't lie to you. If I was a boss, I would definitely go to LinkedIn Jobs because I would be able to find the right candidate that would fit my needs of my business. LinkedIn Jobs can help you find the right candidate. And Bears fans, did you know that every week, nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn? You know what? I can actually use LinkedIn Jobs right now to actually get some help for this podcast. And I know that I would be able to find the right candidate with LinkedIn Jobs. All you have to do is post your job for free at linkedin.com/Wendy. That's linkedin.com/Wendy to post your job for free.